The dust settled around the weathered ranch house as Marcus dismounted his horse, his face carved with exhaustion and something far heavier than fatigue. In his arms, wrapped in a threadbare blanket, was a tiny infant whose cries had grown weaker with each passing mile. The baby's mother had died during childbirth 3 days ago, leaving Marcus, a hardened cowboy who'd never held a child before that terrible moment, suddenly responsible for a life more fragile than he'd ever imagined. He'd ridden through the territory desperately seeking help, but every door had closed. The town women had their own broods to manage. The doctor was 2 counties away tending to a typhoid outbreak, and the wet nurses were already spoken for. Marcus had tried feeding the baby goat's milk from a rag, but the child was fading, and he knew with crushing certainty that without proper nursing, the boy wouldn't last another day. Before we continue with Marcus's desperate journey, I want to know who's watching this story unfold. Drop a comment and tell me which country you're watching from right now. Are you from the United States, India, Pakistan, or somewhere else entirely? I love knowing that stories like this connect hearts across the world. And if this story is touching your soul so far, please hit that like button. It truly helps this channel grow and reach more people who need to hear stories of hope and redemption. That's when he remembered the Thornton place, a small homestead on the edge of his property. He'd seen the daughter, Eliza, working in the vegetable garden during his occasional rides past their land. The other ranch hands had made cruel jokes about her size, about how no man would want her. But Marcus had never joined in. He'd noticed instead how gently she handled the chickens, how she sang to the horses, and how her face lit up when she didn't know anyone was watching. He knocked on the weathered door with his boot, his arms occupied with the dying child. Eliza answered, her flour-dusted apron suggesting she'd been baking. Her eyes widened at the sight of him, then fell to the bundle in his arms. Her expression transformed from surprise to immediate concern as she heard the baby's weak whimper. Marcus had rehearsed words during the ride, but they all seemed inadequate now. His voice cracked as he spoke. Ma'am, I know this ain't proper, and I got no right to ask, but this baby's mother passed on, and he needs nursing something fierce. Can you nurse him just for once, please? He's dying. The color drained from Eliza's face. She stepped back instinctively, her hand moving to her chest. I'm not married, Marcus. I haven't got any milk. I can't help you. I know, Marcus said, his voice breaking, but I heard tell that sometimes a woman can, even without having her own child. I don't know if it's true, but I'm begging you. There's nobody else. His weathered face, usually so stoic, was wet with tears he didn't bother hiding. I made a promise to his mama as she died. I swore I'd keep him safe. Eliza looked at the bundle, at the tiny face, barely visible in the blanket, at the desperate man before her who'd never shown her anything but distant courtesy. She thought of all the times she'd been overlooked, dismissed, made to feel invisible or worse. She thought of how empty her arms had always felt, how she'd resigned herself to never holding a child of her own. Without another word, she reached out and took the baby. His weight against her chest felt like destiny itself had placed him there. She stepped back into the house, Marcus following hesitantly, and settled into her mother's old rocking chair near the fireplace. With trembling hands and a prayer on her lips, she held the child close. What happened next felt like a miracle neither of them could explain. Perhaps it was the warmth of her body, perhaps it was her gentle humming, or perhaps it was something beyond their understanding. But as the hours passed, the baby's cries softened and then ceased, replaced by the sound of contented breathing. Eliza felt something within her respond to the child's need, felt her body somehow provide what science said it couldn't. Marcus stayed through the night, watching from across the room, afraid to break whatever spell had been cast. As dawn light filtered through the curtains, the baby slept peacefully in Eliza's arms, his cheeks pink with returning life. He's beautiful, she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. What's his name? William, Marcus replied softly. After his father who died last winter. Eliza looked up at Marcus, tears streaming down her face. He needs more than just once, Mr. Marcus. He needs someone for every day ahead. Marcus nodded slowly, understanding passing between them like a sacred covenant. Would you consider it, Miss Eliza? Would you be his mother? I'd be honored if you'd let me be his father. Proper like, we could give him a family. In that moment, 3 broken pieces found their way into an unexpected whole. The lonely cowboy who'd never thought he'd have a family. The woman who'd been told she'd never be chosen, and the orphan baby who needed them both. Sometimes fate doesn't ask permission before it rearranges the world into something more beautiful than anyone dared imagine. If this story moved your heart, If it reminded you that miracles still happen in the most unexpected ways, then please share it with someone who needs hope today. Subscribe to this channel if you believe in the power of compassion and second chances. And tell me in the comments, have you ever witnessed an act of pure kindness that changed someone's life forever? Your stories inspire me to keep sharing these tales of the human spirit. Remember, sometimes the greatest strength lies not in standing alone, but in reaching out when someone needs you most. Until the next story, may you find your own unexpected blessings.